When looking at the letter He, you'll notice that it's constructed from a daled and a foot. So the sages taught the gimel, which means to give, gives, as it were, part of its foot to the daled, the poor person, and that becomes the next letter, the He. So the letter He represents a unification of giving and receiving. And therefore it's a letter of great unity and completeness. We're taught that the letter He stands for expression and revelation. In most languages, when you want to get someone's attention, when you want to express yourself, you say, hey, ho. In Hebrew, we have two expressions like that. One is hinei, which means here it is, here I am. This is what it is. And the other one, a very important word, is many times in the Torah, when God appears to a person, they answer, Hineni, I am here. So the letter He has much to do with revelation and expression. And this is manifest that in the four-letter name of God, the only letter that's repeated is He. There are two of the four letters of God's name are the letter He. That should alert us immediately to how important this letter is. When you take the name of God and you permute it in a different order, it spells out Havaya. And many people refer to God with this name, Havaya. Havaya is a word of being, because God brings everything into being, and his essential name is very connected to this idea of essence and being. A further manifestation of the letter He regards time, because God, who is above time and space, brings time into being. Thus, the words in Hebrew for past, present, and future are all connected to the letter He. Past is Haya, two He's. Present is Hoveh, and future is Yiyeh. So God's name is hinting to that all being, all time, all reality is animated by God's infinite light. When you look at the shape of the letter He, you will notice that it's made of three distinct lines. And we're told that this represents breadth, length, and depth. Because expression in the level of worlds in space is made up of three dimensions. All expression, we'll see, follows these three levels. That's why we have what's called thought, speech, and action. Each one of these is an expression of revealing a person's inner essence through thought, through speech, and through action. God also, on the level of divinity, has these three levels. One is called essence. One is the transcendent nature of God. And one is the immanent nature of God. In other words, there is an essence of God that transcends all time, space, and all concept. And then you have a transcendent level of God that, as it were, surrounds the worlds. And then you have an immanent revelation and expression of God that fills all of the worlds. Now, going along with this is the number of the letter He. The number of He is 5. And we'll see many, many things that have to do with expression and manifestation and revelation that have to do with 5. The first is, we're told that there are 5 levels of the soul. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, and Yechida. In short, the behavioristic level, which is called nefesh, the emotional, ruach, intellectual, neshama, the supraconscious, which is chaya, and the point of God within a person, the highest level, is called yechidah. So the soul is expressed through 5 ways. On the level of worlds, we just look at our hand and see our hand is made up of 5 fingers. In other words, we act in the world through our hands. Our hands represent our ability to act in the world. The way we speak, we're taught linguistically that sound comes out of our mouth from 5 different places in the mouth. So we see on many, many different levels how 5 represents revelation. We are taught that everything has its source in a more spiritual, godly aspect. So when we look at the creation of the world, we see that on the first day of creation, the word light is mentioned 5 times. And we're told that this represents the infusion of God's light into the world that will animate it and keep it going for all time. And that these 5 expressions of light represent the 5 books of Moses, the Chumash, the core of the Torah. A meaningful meditation on the letter HEI is to take these ideas of 3 lines and the number 5, because they go together very well, and really meditate on how we express ourselves through thought, speech, and action, and how this is revealed in the physical world through our hands, and in the spiritual world through the 5 levels of soul, and how ultimately the letter HEI, connected very much to God's name, reveals to us our connection to God and gives us a strength to express ourselves in this world.